If you see my unboxing video, you know I had a terrible time trying to figure out how to balance my camera on a Ronin-SC. This is my very first gimbal and I was completely clueless on what I was doing. But now that I've had the Ronin-SC for a few days, I've gotten much better with balancing, and I figured I might as well do another video just to show how simple it really is. So let's do it.
Perfect.
Before we get started, let's go over some of the main parts of the gimbal. This is the tripod, the battery grip, the actual gimbal, and the mounting plate. And as you can see, there are some markings on the bottom of the mounting plate, marked light to heavy, and we'll go over what that's for a little later. A couple other things that are included but I didn't need for any of my camera setups are the riser plate and the lens support. These are mainly used if you have bigger and heavier lens. My camera setups only include mainly kit lens, so I never had to use these, but if you need them, they're pretty simple to add as well. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do is put together the gimbal parts. So take the tripod and attach it to the battery grip. Then you screw it in to make sure it's pretty tight, not too tight, but make sure it's in there. So open it up, just put this down, then get the gimbal, and you're gonna slide it in here. Just go ahead and slide that in there, and then hit the lock on it. Just slide the lock over, and that's pretty much it for getting that together. That's pretty simple and easy. Next, I'm gonna put the mounting plate on the camera. Slide this over a little bit. And how I go about doing this is, remember those labels you see on the back? What I do is I like to line it to begin with in the middle. So I'll start right in between light and heavy, and later if I need to, I'll adjust. And the only thing you'll need to do to add this on the camera is just a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, and you screw it in. So I'll do about just right in the middle. And then I'll tighten it up. Okay, now that's on there. For some of you, you might need to add the riser plate and the lens support. But like I said, this camera setup is pretty light, so I don't need the riser plate, because what happens is you might put the mounting plate on and you might not have any clearance for the lens, so you might need the riser plate to like get a little bit more separation, and then you might need the lens support to just give it a little more balance. But for this setup, or if my A6400, I didn't need either one of them, so we just set it up like this. Before putting the camera on the gimbal, let's go through three main components of the gimbal. One thing we have here, the pan. So this is the pan motor, this is the roll motor, and the tilt motor. All three has a locking mechanism which makes it a little easier for when you're balancing. So before we put it on, let's just unlock each motor. You can see right here. Just unlock each motor, and then let's get it to this position like this, and then lock the pan, and then lock the roll. So the only thing we want to leave open is the tilt motor. Now let's put the camera on the gimbal. So before we do that, there's a little knob on the bottom of the tilt arm. You can see this knob right here on the bottom of the tilt arm. So you're gonna loosen this up, and that's gonna allow you to slide the camera plate inside of this right here. So you just slide that in right there, and while you have that slid in, you'll notice your camera would either lean forward or lean backwards. The idea you want to do here is to kind of push it forward. So if it's leaning backwards, what you want to do is like push the camera forward, and that's do like a little balancing act. And you can see the goal is to have the camera pointing straight forward. Okay, so it's like this. So once you have it sitting forward by itself, then you just tighten up the bottom part. And once you tighten up the knob at the bottom, there's also this little thing right here on the mounting plate. This helps you to remember the position of where the plate needs to be. If you take it off and you put it back on, you can set this to as like a indicator to let you know this where it needs to be on the gimbal for it to be balanced. So we have the position locked. Now let's just tighten it right here. That's locked in. All right, I forgot to mention one thing. If you move the camera back and forth and you see that it doesn't say it's leaning forward and you try to put it back, if you put it back and it goes all the way back and it's still leaning forward, what you need to do is take off the mounting plate and move it up to the heavier side to say, so if it's like it's leaning forward, that means it's too heavy. So you need to move it back to the heavier end and then put it back on there, and that will give you more room to push this back some and able to balance it a little better. So yeah, I just forgot to mention that. So that's how you'll handle that. So that's why when I shown you it earlier, that I like to start off in the middle to kind of gauge where I need. Normally for this camera, the middle is like just fine, but like if you have a heavier camera, you might need to slide it a little back further to the heavier side. So when you're putting it on here, it balances a little better. Okay, now that we have the forward tilt balance, the next thing we want to do is point the camera up and balance the upward tilt. So right now you can see that my camera, it won't stay up. So the idea is to get it to stay pointing up, and that's when you know it's balanced. So right now you can see that my camera is pretty much pointing up and it's falling forward. So what you want to do now is, if you can see, we have another knob that's on the tilt motor. So we'll need to loosen that knob. So loosen that knob, and this arm is able to go in and out. So right now, since my camera is falling forward, I need to move it in to balance it. And it's the opposite. If your camera is falling backwards, just push it forward to kind of balance it. So right now it's falling forward, so I just need to push it in a little more. Still falling. Okay. So now that it's staying up, we go ahead and tighten that knob on the motor again. Okay, so it's staying up. Now it's staying forward. So we have the tilt balanced. So the next thing we're gonna do is just lock the tilt in place now. Now that we have the tilt axis balanced, now we need to do the roll axis. For the roll axis is right here. This is the roll motor and this is the roll arm. And they have the unlock switch right here. So we're gonna unlock this. Okay, now the first thing you notice is that my camera is falling towards my left. And to know it's balanced, it should just stay like this. When the roll axis is unlocked, it should just stay like this. But see, mine is falling towards the left and yours might be falling towards the right. And it's the same idea with the tilt. If it's falling towards the left or the right, there is a knob, the same knob from the tilt arm. From the tilt, loosen the knob at the bottom. And the idea here is to slide this plate left or right depending on where it's tilting. So right now, mine is tilted to the right. So I'm just gonna slide this over to the left. And I'm gonna continue to do that until it balances. All right, so it's balanced. It looks to be staying in place. It's not falling to the left. It's not falling to the right. So we're gonna go ahead and tighten this back up. So the roll is pretty simple to balance. So once we got that balance, we're gonna go ahead and lock the roll arm. Remember, the roll arm is right here. So we're gonna have to lock this again. Boom. 2 of the 3 are out of the way. So now we have the tilt balanced, we have the roll balanced, and the last one is the pan. All right, to balance the pan, the first thing we want to do is make sure that the roll and the tilt are still locked. Once we verify those are still locked, let's unlock the pan motor. And the pan motor is right here. The lock switch is right here, so we're going to go ahead and unlock that. And to test to see if the pan is balanced, we want to do is tilt the camera. So we want to tilt the gimbal to either the left or the right, 15 degrees. So we tilt it, and you can see if it rolls or rotates, that means we need to make some adjustments. So right now, mine is like rotating this way. So what I have to do is there's another knob on the pan arm, on the pan motor. So we're going to loosen that knob up, and you can see the pan arm, you're able to slide in and out. So we're going to slide that in and out and tighten it until we get to the point where we tilt it to the side and it does not rotate. Okay, so that looks good. Let's see the other way. I got it right on the first try. So you see I'm tilting it and it is not rotating. Just like a 15-degree tilt. And if you have issues, like I said, just loosen this up. Just loosen this up. Loosen this knob up on the pan motor and just continue to move it back and forth until you get to that point where you're leaning it to the side and it's not rotating. Okay, we have all 3 axes balanced. So the next thing we're gonna do is unlock all 3 axes. So to unlock right now, we make sure we have the pan unlocked, and then we have the roll unlocked, and we're gonna unlock the tilt. Look like something got out of whack when I was making adjustments. So that's a simple fix. Just go ahead back in and balance this. Oh, it looked like when I was doing the pan, probably just got out of place, but good thing that I locked this in place, so I just know I just need to slide this back some and then tighten it back up. Just had to make a minor adjustment. We back on beat. Next up, we're just gonna power on the Ronin. If you see right here is the power button. So we're just gonna press and hold that for a quick second. It's powered on, battery's dead. Oh man. All right, let me charge this up for a second and I'll be right back. We have juice. All right, cool. So now everything is good here. If you haven't already, download and install the Ronin app. because now we need to set it up and connect to Ronin. So I've already connected, so all I gotta do, hit it, it's already connected, and we need to do the balance adjustment. And this is just the last step to just make sure that everything is balanced correctly. And what you need to do is just tilt it again, like 15 degrees to either side, and hit begin test. Just gonna run through the test real quick. Cool, that was really quick. So at the end of the test, it will show you your results, and as you can see, everything is excellent. If something wasn't balanced correctly, it would tell you that either your pan, your roll, or your tilt axis is not balanced correctly, and you just need to go in, make a few adjustments, get back to it, run your test again, and boom, it's done. It's just it. See how simple that is? The last thing you can do from here is you can take any one of the provided USB cables and connect it to the tilt arm and plug it into your camera, and that will just allow you to use the record button on the control panel right here on the battery grip. Just hit the record button, but you have to plug in one of the USB cables in order to use the record button. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's set up. Everything is working how it should be. All right, that's it. If this helped you out, hit that like button. If this didn't help you out, hit that like button. And while you at it, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm Joe. This was another Joe Tech Talk, and I'm out.